Good evening, everybody. Sean here with you. We're doing another wonderful Thiel Tuesday, reading through the book 0 to 1, sort of like a tool breakdown video, except of a book. We started in the middle, we went to the beginning, we went to first principles. What does 0 to 1 mean? What is technological progress? What lessons were learned by Silicon Valley from the dot-com bust? And now we're here at All Happy Companies Are Different. That's the title of chapter 3. And the question there is, what valuable company is nobody building? What's the next Facebook? What's the next Google? What's the next Airbnb? What's the next, if you want to look back further, Microsoft, Apple? What's the next, US Steel even, or Alcoa? So that question is really just a different, holding your head at a different angle and looking at what important truth do very few people agree with you on. Because that truth is what's going to be the root of your company, and no one else is seeing it but you. And so these sorts of businesses, this business is different from the businesses that are already out there. Because there's a lot of big businesses out there making big money, but they're not really profiting. So businesses like that include airlines, that's the example in the book, oil companies to an extent, depending on the year. How about groceries? Grocery companies. Those are thin margins, man. And so what's the difference between a company like Google or that next, what valuable company is nobody building? What's the difference between those companies and all the other companies that we see in our day-to-day life? My company, the airline, WestJet, that's in Calgary, say, for instance, a woodworking shop nearby, metalworking shop. What's the difference? So the difference is that Google is a monopoly. It has a monopoly on search. Okay, monopolies can actually make money because they control the market. They own that market. It's theirs. Perfect competition is the world that guys like me and airlines and lumber mills and oil companies live in. Okay? Where the goods are fungible, they're totally interchangeable, and they're, let's make it a perfect example, they're worldwide. Something like oil. So if you think about oil is hard to make money on, right? Because you got to compete with Saudis. You got to compete with Nigeria. There's no environmental regulation there. You got to compete with Venezuela. Okay, they're just, you don't even want to look at those well sites down there. Okay, Google is not competing with Tom, Dick, and Harry, every Tom, Dick, and Harry out there. They're not competing with state government, well, to an extent they are with China. They're not competing with monarchies like Saudi Arabia or wild men like Putin in Russia. They own the market. If you don't believe me, go ahead, try and use Bing for one day. One day. You'll see why Google has a monopoly on search. Okay? So you want to be a monopoly because that's how you actually make a profit. You can beat yourself left, right, and center trying to squeeze every penny. If you're an airline, it's never going to add up to much because there's another airline moving in on your turf, or maybe a new one is getting founded, and they're going to undercut you till you get to a point where nobody's making money. That's perfect competition. And so there's two different sort of idealized poles of companies, the monopoly and a company that exists in perfect competition. And as a result, there's two different lies that go with these types of companies that are just inherent in their nature. And it's not a mean lie, it's just a natural reaction to the situation. Maybe Thiel should have used better language there, but I guess in some ways these are sort of lies. So, for instance, the monopoly lie. So, what happens when there's a monopoly? If you look at history, for instance, steel monopolies, Standard Oil, those monopolies were broken up by antitrust regulation, which split them into smaller companies so that there was competition. Ultimately, those companies reformed, which was sort of weird. But, BP Amoco, well, that's sort of... Anyway, Chevron and these guys sort of re-amalgamated. But the point is this: the monopoly has a target on its back if it's a monopoly. People are going to want to regulate it because they're afraid of the power and any other number of reasons. They're going to try and split it up. They're going to try and legislate it so that its ability to make money and wield power is limited. So in Canada, an example is frankly the pipelines. Pipelines have laws which restrict the price they're told that they can charge to move product on their pipe, and laws about having to accept gas or oil, as the case may be, into a pipeline system. That way, they don't have you completely over the barrel, because a pipeline company, it's not like there's across Alberta 3 different pipelines going to every single well, and you choose, well, I'm going to sell into TransCanada's pipe today, or Enbridge. That happens to an extent further along the chain, but for the most part, in terms of gathering, you got the pipeline that's nearest to you, you're stuck with them. Okay? So that's an example of regulation, not necessarily breaking a company up, but inhibiting its ability to act as a monopoly. Okay? So to avoid that, what monopolies do is they tell a lie. The lie that they tell is that they're not a monopoly, because they don't want that. They want to make money still. So they say, no, look at us. For instance, the example that's given here is Google. Google clearly has a monopoly on search. But if you take a broader view, and you look at the other projects they've been involved with, such as Google Glass, or Gmail, say, or any of these other number of things, suddenly, if you listen to what the monopolists are telling you, they look like a tech company. And then, instead of comparing them to Bing, you're comparing them to Apple, to Hewlett-Packard, to Microsoft, whoever else. Suddenly, they're not looking like a monopoly. So that's the lie they tell and why they tell it. On the other hand, you have the lies that are told by people who exist in a world of perfect competition. Now, where monopolies want to blend in a world of perfect competition, you want to stand out. So that lie is told to make yourself look unique. And that lie is told, in the examples that Thiel gives, in part on behalf of the entrepreneur to get him off the couch, and in part as a marketing ploy to differentiate themselves from the herd. So, that's where I'll leave off with you today. We'll be back next Tuesday with another Thiel Tuesday. I'll show you the line I'm working on. It's sort of roughed up right now. I got to do quite a bit of work on it, on the head and the legs and stuff. But you can sort of see what's going on here. Anyways, thanks for tuning in. I'll keep you up to date on the line's progress, and we'll see you next week for some more Thiel Tuesdays. Thanks for watching.